The 2017 Buick Regal. Without question, this is one of the best cars that GM makes today, and I don't think enough people know about it. I'm Jay, and welcome to this latest episode of Car Buzz Unboxing Reviews. And before you, yes, the 2017 Regal. And before I get started, I want to thank Woodland Motors for letting us come on down and film today. So the Buick Regal, right, so this is actually the 5th generation model. It's been around for quite a long time, and this generation Regal debuted in the United States for the 2011 model year, and it's essentially a rebadged version of the Opel Insignia. Opel is, of course, General Motors' German-based brand, and it is, I think, one of the best brands that GM has, but that's another story. Anyway, back to the Regal here. Now, the Regal, like I said, I think it's one of the best sedans that GM makes overall. Why? Well, because it has European handling and tuning, and it's just more fun to drive than, say, your midsize Chevrolet Malibu here. And I'll get to more interior details in just another moment or so, but as you can tell, this is really a premium-looking semi-luxury sedan here. Now, I wouldn't go so far as to call this particular one, this is the Sport Touring, it's sort of the mid-range trim, a full-on sports sedan. Now, you can get the Regal, specifically the Regal GS in all-wheel drive, but that's quite a bit more expensive than the model you see here. And just looking at it from the outside, this is just a really sharp-looking vehicle. And I'll get to more exterior details in a few minutes, but, back to this interior here. Now, they call this ebony with ebony accents. It's got leather seating, an 8-inch LCD touchscreen, front bucket seats, 8-way power driver's seat, driver and passenger heated seats, 7-speaker audio system, ambient interior lighting, dual-zone automatic climate control, a couple of USB ports, OnStar, Bluetooth streaming, and the overall build quality is excellent here. Now, if anyone remembers, a few years ago, during GM's whole bankruptcy thing back in 2007, 2008, Buick almost didn't make it, and it only got saved is because, well, General Motors convinced the Obama administration that Buick can be profitable, and one of the ways was Opel. And Opel already did all the engineering and design work, and they essentially brought the Insignia over to the US and rebadged it as the Regal, and it works. This is just a fantastic midsize premium sedan here. Now, one of my chief complaints, as you can see right here, and you'll see again in a few more minutes, rear seat space. There's just not a whole lot of legroom. Now, 2 full-size adults can fit back here, but if they're really tall adults, well, I think they'll be a little squished. But take note of all that little bits of leather trim right there on the doors. Again, you're getting sort of that European feel here, and that does make a difference. In fact, I think the Regal here, when it came to the U.S. in 2011, it was a little bit ahead of its time. General Motors as a whole was still sort of like on the rebound, and it was the Regal that proved that there were better days ahead of General Motors. And I just love this dashboard design. It's sporty, it's luxurious, it's not overly flashy, even though I think there are still a little bit too much of shiny plastics there for my personal taste. I think the shiny plastic is just going to collect dust. Really nice steering wheel here. It was perfectly sized. Nice grip on it too. Okay. Now, this is that 8-inch LCD touchscreen I was telling you about. And I really like it. As I mentioned before, specifically in my review of the Chevrolet Malibu Hybrid, I think General Motors has done just a great job with its infotainment screens here, specifically in the colors. Look how bright and sharp these colors are here. It was a very intuitive system overall. I think I liked Ford's new Sync 3 a little bit better, but I really don't have any complaints whatsoever about this one. Now, this car is also equipped with Buick's IntelliLink radio navigation with audio for an extra $495. And beginning for 2016, again, this is the 2017 model year Regal. Every Regal, regardless of trim level, has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto capability. So, despite this car coming, dating back to 2011, Buick has done a really nice job just progressively updating it every single year almost with new features. As you can see at the bottom of the dash there, you have your dual zone automatic climate control settings. You just sort of tap it right there and it works great. And I do like that layout of the dash. It's simple, it's straightforward. You have your automatic transmission shift lever there. That's a 6-speed automatic. I'll get to that in just a moment when I talk about the engine too. Even though it's European designed, it's still got cup holders. Americans got to have their cup holders. Now, I didn't like this as much. I don't think there's enough storage space in the center console when you lift it up. I know other cars have a little bit more room, but again, I'm letting this one pass here because the car is, dates back actually to its Opel days as the Insignia to about 2008, 2009, believe it or not. So let's talk safety here. Now, this car has earned 5 out of 5 stars in a U.S. government crash test rating. So that's excellent right there. It also comes standard with StabiliTrak stability control system with traction control, 4-wheel ABS brakes, driver and passenger airbags, front and side and head side curtain airbags, tire pressure monitoring system, and a rear view camera. Here's that power sunroof there. This is actually a $1,000 option on this particular one. And for the record, this is the Sport Touring trim. Now, it is just about the mid-range of the various trim levels. The top of the line is the GS. Some say it stands for, Grand Sport. And the GS is all-wheel drive only, as opposed to this particular one is front-wheel drive. And speaking of which, how does it drive? Well, I have to say the front-wheel drive Regal is responsive and the handling overall is quite good. The struts are in front and it has a multi-link rear end. So that definitely helps. Now, the all-wheel drive that you can get with the GS, as well as higher trim levels of the non-GS Regals, all-wheel drive costs about an extra $2,400. It has an electronically controlled limited slip differential for the rear wheels, and the all-wheel drive overall, it makes the driving experience just a bit more fun, hence the performance-oriented GS. As you saw there, there's a 4.2-inch driver information screen in the gauge cluster, which again had excellent color contrast, just like the main 8-inch infotainment screen. Now, I like to think of Buick also as sort of like an entry-level luxury brand. It's not an all-out, I don't want to say like Lexus fighter, but I definitely think Buick is targeted right towards Acura. Now, Acura, as I mentioned with my review of the TLX, which coincidentally happens to be one of the Regal's main competitors, still hasn't quite found its footing in the luxury market yet, but I think Buick has, and it's just being more honest. We're entry-level luxury. If you want an all-out luxury car from General Motors, knock on Cadillac store instead. But I think you get a lot of value for the money in Buicks, and especially since we're seeing Buick sales just going up incredibly well lately. You see what I mean here with the rear seat? There's just not a whole lot of legroom for taller adults. Not the worst, but what can you do? Now, just so that you know, the Regal here, it falls in between the Verano and the full-size LaCrosse. For a baby seat there, yeah, no problem for legroom for babies. So, there's that. Okay, now the trunk space here. You got a total of 14.3 cubic feet. Now, that's about 3 or 4 cubic feet less than some of the competition. Why is that? Again, I think it's because this car, its design is older. It was designed initially for Europe, and I don't think Europeans want as large trunks as Americans do. But I think the trunk for most people will be spacious enough. And of course, you have 60/40 split folding rear seats. That always helps. If you need a really bigger trunk and you're still, diehard GM guy or girl, there is a Chevrolet Malibu. Again, that's a newer car. It's got a bigger trunk. It's got a bigger rear seat. But it doesn't have quite the performance driving feel of this. And speaking of performance, let's check out what's under the hood here. Now, this is the optional engine. This is a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder with 259 horsepower and 259 pound-feet of torque. And as you saw earlier, it's paired to a 6-speed automatic, which sends power to the front wheels. All-wheel drive, like I mentioned, it costs about $2,400 more. And, well, it depends on your personal driving preference whether or not that's something you want. But let's give this engine a listen here, because it sounds pretty good. Okay, so 0 to 60 miles per hour in less than 7 seconds. Top speed, about 149, 150 miles per hour. Fuel economy, 21 miles per gallon in the city, 29 on the highway, and a combined 24. The vehicle weighs just over 4,000 pounds. It'll weigh a little less with the base engine, which is a 2.4-liter naturally aspirated inline 4 with 182 horsepower and 172 pound-feet of torque, also paired to a 6-speed automatic. Now, with that naturally aspirated 2.4-liter 4, you cannot get all-wheel drive. That is front-wheel drive only, but I really recommend going for the turbocharged 2-liter. You get a lot more horsepower for not a whole lot more money. Now, the exterior here, wow, this car is particular one is wearing 18-inch black pocket aluminum wheels. It's painted what Buick calls graphite gray metallic. Costs an extra $395, but I really like it. I think it's a great alternative to, say, white, silver, or black. Actually, this would be my choice of colors. I really did like it, especially when the light hits it. You can see it up close here as well. Now, what's cool is that this car also comes with a rear spoiler, heated outside mirrors, front fog lamps, dual stainless steel exhaust tips, halogen headlamps, what they call the waterfall grille, LED lights front and rear. It's just a sharp-looking car that it's just gotten better over the years with age. Now, speaking of age, yes, it is aging. It's starting to become a little less competitive overall, but I think if you're looking for a lot of value in something premium, this is it. Now, speaking of value, the pricing, base price for the inline or naturally aspirated inline 4 Regal is $27,990. This one here, the Sport Touring, begins at $28,615. Now, with the added options plus a $925 destination fee, all in $31,430. Now, if you want the GS with the all-wheel drive, that is going to be just under $41,000. But for $31,000, you're getting a 259 horsepower mid-size premium sedan. That's not bad. And considering the average new car in the US right now costs right around $33,000, again, this is one hell of a great deal here. And it looks nice too. I mean, it's got classic styling. I like right in there that front door, the sort of that Nike swoosh thing going. I like that chrome strip in the rear. It's all in the little details. You see, there's that dual stainless steel exhaust. Again, it's just a nice car. Now, some of the competition, as I already mentioned, the Acura TLX. I would also toss into that believe it or not, the Audi A4, BMW 3 Series, and the Mercedes-Benz C-Class. Yes, I know those are all rear-wheel drive based, but they all have base prices in, I don't know, sort of the similar range. But then again, I think this one here is the better value, especially if you don't feel like you need to have something like a German premium brand. There's also the upcoming Alfa Romeo Giulia. Now, that's kind of a base price, starting at around $40,000 too. So it's kind of interesting to see what Alfa Romeo is, how they're going to price that. All right, so what do I like here? Well, for starters, this exterior. I really like it. Same goes for the interior. It's a nicely tuned chassis, and I think that turbocharged engine is just fantastic. And it's just great value overall. And I also like that infotainment interface too, and that 8-inch LCD screen. What don't I like? Well, I think the steering response is kind of bland, and as I mentioned, as much as I like the design, it is aging. And as well, the rear seat is a little snug, but if you don't mind kind of an aging design, a smaller rear seat, this is the sports sedan for you. But I'm out of time for today. Thank you for watching, everyone. If you have any more questions for me, just leave them in the comment section below. If you have any suggestions for me for a future unboxing reviews you'd like me to do, also leave those in the comment section. And be sure to subscribe to the CarBuzz Unboxing YouTube channel. And be sure to check out the full review of the 2017 Buick Regal Sport Touring at carbuzz.com. So until my next review, thank you again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.